So, welcome to another episode of The Artist Path. I am your host, Flynn, here with a very special guest, very good friend of mine, Ashley Butler. What's up, Ashley?
Hey, what's going on?
How you doing, girl? I heard you making cookies.
Oh yes, I'm eating them right now.
Wow, I thought you were saving them for something.
I'm taste testing them. Yep.
I, I can't. So Ashley is a very good friend of mine. We actually met in high school,
Mhm.
which seems like it was so long ago.
Mhm. It was.
And
Mhm.
it definitely was. And Ashley is a painter who actually painted one of my portraits. It's actually hanging up on my wall still. I look at it every day. No lie, every day.
Aw, that's cute.
So, Ashley, you're actually one of the main reasons why I started going to. You are the reason why I started going to art shows. You started inviting me out, and I think at first I wasn't showing up, but then I started showing up more, and I've been going to art shows ever since, and I see you at every art show. So I don't know. I want to dive into that. It was just I was inspired based off of our last show that we did with JD, the Melanin event.
Yeah, the Melanin event.
Yeah, I was inspired after that to really reach out to you and kind of see what your process is when it comes to art shows and like what you enjoy about it and where you started and whatnot. So, first off, for all the artists out there, Ashley, why should an artist consider being a vendor at an art show?
Why shouldn't they
Why
consider?
should they?
Why should they? Oh, I feel like I mean, it just depends on the artist in general. Like, I feel like it's a good way to put yourself out there, for sure. Like, displaying your art in general. Because, yeah, like, we have social media right now, and it's so easy. You can, just by the click of your phone, like, you can just post a picture and lots of people can see it. But I feel like vending at art shows is very important because, like, you get to actually get that, like, interpersonal connection with another person and literally in real life. I feel like you don't really get the full experience over the phone or like over like any kind of wireless app or like whatever, just because we're naturally, like, as human beings, we're natural connectors with other things or people, whatever, like we need that experience. So I would recommend it, but I know that there are some artists who are not as like, that's not their thing, they don't like showing their art, or expressing it in person. They like that like screen, you know what I mean? They like that, like they like to be in their space. So it's not for everyone, for sure. It's definitely not for everyone, but I'm definitely an advocate of it for sure. Like, I love doing art shows in person.
So, what was your first art show? Can you tell me about it?
Sure. Okay, my very first art show was, I think it was like 2.5 years ago. And it was actually like my very first art show was actually my only solo show, actually. So it was really intimidating. It was outside, actually, which was really cool. And we didn't have like a real like setup. It was more like just in a backyard. And my paintings were hanging from trees. So it was really interesting. And it was different. It was very different. I've never like showed off any of my visual paintings to like anyone, and that was the first time, so I was really scared. I'm not gonna lie, but it was fun. A lot of people were like, "Wow, I didn't even know you could paint," and I was like, "Well, me neither." Like, the thing is, like, I've been creative my whole life. Like, I've been very like kinesthetic in general. So I mean, painting was just like, I did it as a child. I drew and stuff sometimes, but I mean. And my sister, like, she's an artist too, but like, I was kind of like, okay, maybe I'm not going to be on that path, even right now, I feel like I'm kind of like all over the place with my creativeness. So like, I wouldn't be surprised if art isn't like my only, I guess, vessel. But yeah, like, sorry, I'm going off the tangent, but basically my first art show was in person, outside, and there was music and stuff too. So it was really fun. I loved it. I actually loved it a lot, actually, but it was scary.
Were you nervous?
Yeah, very nervous actually. Yeah, because it was just like the very first time, and then people ask you those questions like, "What inspired you?" And I'm like, I can't really think of it right now, but I'll get back to you on that one. So, because in the moment when you're in the flow of making art or like you're in the flow of creating something, it's like in that moment you have that like, all right, I did this because of this. But then when sometimes it's just in that moment,
Right.
Yeah, it's in that channel like that you just like you get off that you go to another channel right after that. So it's like, okay, that was in the moment. So there's that.
Yeah, no, I feel that. So I can relate because I create a lot of different things, and it's always meaningful, but there's not always like a message behind what I create. I create it out of just wanting to create something. And hearing what you're saying, it kind of reminds me of the fact that when I create certain things or I just try something new or try something different, there's no real reason on why I'm trying things. Sometimes it's just expression for expression's sake.
Right.
And I've learned to accept that.
Right. And that's the thing. I think just everyone has their own little version of expressing. And that's why I think like even with art shows, I feel like some people can't just do, some people, they just don't like doing them. And I understand that. Like, I feel like art doesn't even have to always be displayed necessarily like in person for us to see it. Like I said before, we have the internet and stuff like that too. But I mean, honestly, like I even know some artists right now who don't even show their work and they're just artists. They just paint and, you just see their work sometimes. They're, everyone, you don't have to be this big famous person to be an artist. You know what I mean? Like, so.
Right. I think people get caught up in that, up in the audience and the attention. And I was actually having this conversation with Unique on the last episode about creating out of a sense of authenticity and genuineness. And when you create and you're trying to appease an audience, that can really take away from your work. And it's not always obvious. Sometimes it's more subtle. But nevertheless, I think intentions when it comes to expressing and creating is very important.
I think so too. The thing is too, like, you can see it in the work too. Sometimes, even with myself, like I notice that whenever I get get caught up in that idea, like I start doing it for other people, I notice my work doesn't even come out as great for some reason, because it's forced, rather than just something that I just kind of had an epiphany about and I just do it, and like I love like those moments when you kind of have that like inspiration and you have that idea and you just want to like, grab it and like you want to just work on it right in that moment. That's like the best feeling ever. But those moments when you're kind of just chilling and it's like, because in general, I'm a workaholic. I do a lot of things at once. Like I'm a very multitasker. Like I got to get things done. Like even right now, like we're talking and I'm thinking about what I got to do after this. So I'm always on the go. I'm always on the clock. Okay. But the thing is, I think that the struggle that I'm struggling with when it comes to like attentiveness and just like being an artist or just doing things in general, is that I don't take my time, like I kind of rush a little bit and I need to slow things down. And I think like we're just so excited about like getting seen and like being recognized that we kind of rush the process of it. Like we skip like all the steps of like trying to figure out like, okay, what do I actually want to do? I just, because the first thing we want to do is just tell everyone about it, and I think that's something I'm struggling with. I was way worse before, but I've improved when it came to slowing things down and like doing things because I want to do it, hence the reason why I don't have TikTok, because I don't want one. Like a lot of people tell me, make a TikTok, you'll blow up on TikTok. I'm like, I mean, yeah, but I don't like TikTok. I don't want it. I haven't tried it. So yeah, that's probably not fair for me to say I don't like it, but I just don't want it. I already have I have 3 apps that I get on and I don't want another app. I'm sorry. But not sorry. because it's just like too much, you know. And that's what I'm talking about. I feel like we're like, it's weird. I feel like there's like that pressure with every like creative, like whether you're doing music, photography, whatever, like, you know, you start off like as a little, like in a little business or whatever, and then they're like, okay, but now you got to make a website, and now you got to do this, and now you got to do that, and I'm thinking like, but I just wanted to paint. Like, why do I have to do? Like, I don't have to. I know I don't have to, but why do I feel like I have to? Because everyone else is doing it. You know what I mean? Like, because you don't have to, like, yeah, like if you want to make a business, of course, yeah, you want to obviously progress. I mean, because that's what you want to do, right? But I mean, if you're like an artist and you just want to like just be an artist and like that's it, like you just want to like create and show it off to people, like, I don't know, I just don't see why you should be forced into that like box of being like having an LLC and like having your own business cards and shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like there's that pressure. Sorry my language. There's that pressure all the time. I just think it's just kind of whack, you know, because it kind of takes away from the whole experience, you know. But like I said before, everyone's going into it for different intentions. So like if your intention is to make it into a business, for sure, like I would recommend, yeah, like you kind of, if you want it to be booming business to where you want the entire like planet to know, I mean, you kind of probably have to make like a website, because that way everyone can see it. But I mean, if you're just kind of like me, for example, who like, I mean, I'm kind of in this weird like gray area where I don't really know if I want it to progress, because I'm so like all over the place with what I want to do. Like, I want to do so many things, so I guess I'm not completely attached to it as much. Does it make sense?
That does make sense.
Like, I love doing art. I will always love it, but I feel like I don't need to prove myself that I'm a great artist, or to prove that I love art. I don't have to do all this extra stuff just to prove that. You feel me? Like, I know that I'm a great artist, and I know that I'm good at doing something because I want to be, and I am. You know, I'm claiming that, so I don't have to go above and beyond just to prove that. But like I said before, everything's subjective. Everything is how you want it to be seen. So I feel like it just really depends on the person. Yeah. Okay.
You said a lot.
I'm so sorry. I know, like, I talk and I just keep talking and then I stop. Like, that's just how I operate, I guess. And I'm so sorry about that.
Oh, you don't have to apologize. This is what a podcast is talking. So I'll say this. I think it's very, very important to have that confidence that you spoke of, because if you don't trust your own voice and have confidence in your own work, you're going to be more susceptible to people's influence and whatever they say and whatever they suggest to you.
Right.
You're going to feel that pressure.
Right.
And speaking for myself, because that's all I can really do, I isolate myself a lot, and I don't look at a lot of people's work unless it's an artist I personally connect with. Because there's always that voice in the back of my mind that says, oh, they're doing this, you should be doing this. Or why aren't you out here at more shows? Why aren't you performing? Why aren't you showing everybody your work?
Well, can I ask you something?
Go for it.
Why do you perform? Like why? What is your goal of performing at these shows that I put you on? Like, are you doing it because you want to be recognized as an artist? Like, are you trying to build? Are you doing it not that this is a bad thing, but are you doing it because you want someone, like, let's just say someone like, I don't know, J. Cole or something, like, just pulls up, you know? Are you doing it because there could be that one day that somebody scouts you? Are you doing it because you just love performing, like you love the energy that comes with it and it's like a rush? Or like, are you doing it just like, I don't know, like, why are you doing it? Like, why do you do it?
That's a great question. I do it because I enjoy doing it. That's a simple answer, but everything you said is a thought in my mind, but it's not the purpose. That is more so the end result. Like, the end result is people will see me. The end result is I'll be recognized for my work, but the purpose of me performing at shows is because I want to and I enjoy it. I love the energy of it. I love making music, but I love recording, but I love performing it because performing is a different element. It's not the same as just recording. So performing, I feel like I can add more personality into it, add more aesthetic to it, add more cinematics to it. And if it was for all those other reasons of being recognized and expanding my audience, I would do way more shows than I do now. I'm pretty selective on what shows I choose to perform. I don't perform at every open mic. You won't see me performing at every open mic because I'm past the point of showing that I can do it. And I'm at the point of knowing that I can do it and expanding off of a foundation. The foundation, my foundation is I can perform. I can put on a song and just rap that song and perform. How do I take that to the next level? And I don't need to perform at every other event to prove that I can take it to the next level. I'm very selective and I put more work into my performances now. So I can't just perform at every event.
I have another question. You're the one interviewing me and I'm interviewing you.
I know, right?
But I have a question. So, like, with that being said, it just like went out my brain. So what's like your next like move then? Like, what do you want to do? Like, do you want to become make music? Like, I know you make music, but do you want to like become like an actual like artist? Like, you want to be like signed, or like, do you just want to be like, do you just want to just do it just because you want to do it? Like, you know what I mean?
Good question. Actually, with these good questions, you should be the interviewer.
No, because I think about this stuff like all the time. Like every day I wake up and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna paint today, and I'm gonna do an art show. And like sometime, like it's weird. It's like I wake up and I know like that sometime soon, somewhere in the future, I will do another art show to show my art, like somehow, some way. Okay. But at the same time, like it's like I have this weird like moment of like, okay, but what am I like? Where am I gonna go with this? Because I feel like right now, like I have been growing as like an artist, so to speak, but at the same time, I feel like I haven't, because I've been trying new mediums. I've been trying painting on different things, and I've been trying to do collabs with people. So that's new for me as well. However, what's the next step? That's the question that I'm kind of like thinking, all right, like, cause I don't want to put my art in a museum. That's not the goal. I'm not trying to be like Vivaldi. He's a musician. What am I talking about? I'm not trying to be like Da Vinci. So what's my goal? And that's where I'm kind of like at right now. Like I'm kind of like, okay, this is fun, but in the next 5 years, am I still gonna do this, or am I doing something else, or what is going on? You know what I mean? Like it's that weird like moment of like realization where you're just kind of like, I don't want to look too far into the future, but I'm like still like, but still, it's good to think about, because like I don't know. Like, and the thing is, like I said before, I knew from the jump that like I'm not gonna be like, I'm always gonna be doing something creative, like no matter what it is, whether it's sing, because I sing, you know that already, and you know that like I'm already hanging out. I have a lot of friends who are creative. Like I have friends who are signed even to record labels. I have friends who travel. I have friends who do photography. I have friends who do everything pretty much in the whole like creative bubble, like spectrum of all things, even fashion. I have friends who are like models and like fashion designers. So, and they have businesses too. Some of them do, some of them don't. But I'm like, okay, but then where do I fall in? Because I don't know what I'm doing with this. Like I do this because I want to do it, but I'm like, okay, but like where, like, how do I make this into like a hobby, but not like a career, but also not like just something that I just do? I don't know.
Well, I'll say this. One of the things you have to do as an artist is accept that your path and your journey is truly unique and different from everyone else.
Right.
Because if not, you're gonna fall into the trap of seeing other people doing things and making moves and interpreting their art and their creativity and their expression in a certain way, and you're gonna say, well, should I be doing that? And the thing is you can only do what you should. I say you should only do what you feel like you should do. And if you feel inspired by somebody else, that's different than feeling almost like resentful or confused based off of someone else's moves. For example, I'm gonna use myself as an example.
Okay.
I've had similar thoughts. Like, trust me, I've had similar thoughts. Like, what am I really doing with all this? How am I gonna incorporate fashion, modeling, music, photography, video, and also my passion with education? How am I gonna incorporate all these different things? And I just stopped for a moment and I said, let me just keep doing it. And I'm sure the vision will reveal itself. Because you don't really need an end goal, you just need some sort of vision. And I think in order to reach that vision, you have to sit in a quiet place, you got to meditate on it, you got to pray on it if you're religious or spiritual, you got to journal about it, but you also have to do it and continue to go along your path. And that vision carves itself out. But you have to have an open mind. You have to be open enough to interpret that vision. So for me, I'm in education and I'm going to take music as far as it goes, which I don't see myself signing to a record label, but it could happen. If I become a famous musician, I'd still be in education. Like, I'd still be, just because that's my passion, that's my purpose, is in education, is in educating people. If I became a famous model, same thing. I'd still be making music. I'd still be in education. Mm-hmm. All these things are going to happen, and we're in uncharted territory. Everywhere you step, Ashley Butler, everywhere you step is uncharted territory for you, and for the world, because nobody's you. Nobody's taking your path. Nobody's taking the Flynn path. Everything that I'm doing is uncharted territory. It may not seem like it when you're surrounded by billions of people, but it is uncharted territory. So there's no real rule book or manual on how to be you and figure out your life. There's guidelines, maybe there's recommendations, there's information that'll help you along your path, but your path is truly unique, and you have to carry yourself as if it is, because if not, you're going to fall into some type of category or some type of lane that somebody else carved out for themselves, which may not suit you. I could just say, well, I don't want to do education, even though I feel driven to do it and I'm very passionate about it. I'm just going to focus solely on art. There's going to be a part of me that tugs on me every night, every day, all those quiet moments when I'm out with people. It's going to tug on me to the point where I'm forced to listen to it. And if I try to suppress it, like, I'm going to get sick. Like, you're going to get sick or you're going to be depressed. So I've learned to just embrace all aspects. And if I have an idea, if I say, okay, well, I want to incorporate all these creative ideas in education, I don't know how. I say that in a typical sense. Like, if you look at an average educator, they don't do all the things that I do. So if I step into that space, I may be questioning, well, how am I going to incorporate it? But I have to understand, even though I'm in their space, they're nothing like me. I'm bringing something truly unique to this space. I have all these skills, talents, assets, influence that I can incorporate that'll be beneficial in this space. So I have to keep that. I have to say, well, yeah, I'm very creative. I'm not going to keep that on the outside just because everybody here isn't creative. I'm going to say, no, I'm going to take that and make that my main attribute here. I'm going to lean heavily into that because that's what's lacking here. I feel like the universe has a very funny way of bringing you into spaces, especially when you're a leader. It has a very funny way of bringing you into spaces that need you. And I feel like that because I'm about to start working at GGC. I see the issues on campus. I see the issues of the students and the staff. I see areas that could be improved. And I just start questioning, what is my role here? And then I see it. Like I have the vision, like your role here is to really be you. As simple as that sounds, is be you to the fullest. And then you'll just watch as things change over time. But you can't suppress anything. You can't not offer your gift. You can't try to be like everybody else and follow their path. You can't do any of that. You can listen when you need to. You can accept guidance. But at the end of the day, you have to trust within yourself and your higher power, whatever you believe, that you have the skills necessary and you're in the right place for the right reason. And if you're not in the right place, well, I mean, that's a different conversation.
Right.
A different conversation.
Yeah, it's just a lot to think about, you know. But I'm just taking each day like one day at a time, you know, because we're so young, you know. But at the same time, I want to just do the best that I can, you know, and be like, I did that, like, because I wanted to do it. I don't want to like live life and regret not doing something I wanted to do, you know, not do, yeah. Like, I don't want to like just sit and think that, you know, because I don't know, even like in general, like even with like the little things, I'm like, oh, like, why didn't I do that? But like, you know, I also want to think like, but there's always tomorrow, like you can do it tomorrow, you know?
Right.
It's like, is there gonna be a tomorrow, you know? So it's like, I don't know, like.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
So back to the art shows, right?
Yeah.
Do you enjoy doing art shows?
Yes.
What is your favorite part?
I think it's like getting ready for the art show. I mean, obviously setting up is great because like you get to be like, all right, I'm setting up now. It's about to happen. But getting ready, like putting on makeup and stuff. I love doing makeup. I love color and stuff. So I love getting dressed up for the art shows because I feel good because it's like I'm going into something. I'm getting dressed up not for work. I'm not getting dressed up to go on like a date. I'm getting dressed up to, you know, like show people that my stuff. Like, hey, I did this. You know, this is mine. And then with that being said, I also love like just meeting people. Like I feel like every time I go, I end up becoming friends with somebody. Like it's really fun. And then like it's like because we have that one thing in common, so that's already like a starting point for a conversation. And then it's like I don't know. I have so many art friends. Like it's so cute. I just want to like throw a party and like have them all come over or something, and we just all hang out or something, and then we talk about art or something. I don't know. It's funny because like I hang out with some artists sometimes, and like we'll talk about, instead of talking about like normal stuff like celebrities or something, we'll talk about like, oh, like what medium do you use? Oh, I use gouache, you know. Oh, you use acrylic? Oh, you use watercolor. Like, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And then we'll talk about like techniques and stuff, and then we'll talk about like, you know, like just like life stuff like afterwards, but that's not even the main thing. We'll talk about just the art, you know, and like it's fun and it's like cool. I don't know, it's a blessing. It's just a blessing. I feel like I love it so much.
So let me say this. What you just described to me sounds like the next step, honestly. Because you've done so many art shows, and one of the things that I noticed about you is what you just mentioned, that you meet a lot of people and you bring a lot of people together. And I tell you this all the time, but you're great at bringing people together. And that's a sign of a leader. That's one of the traits of a leader. They're great at bringing people together. They're great at basically starting teams and forming connections with people. And I think for you, your next step is doing your own shows. Similar to JD. For people who don't know, JD was that's my boy, but JD's I gotta say that up front, right? He's also a painter. I have one of his paintings on my walls. He's also a painter, but he's gotten into curating events. Like he's an event curator now. He creates his own art events, and I've had the luxury of performing at 2 of them. But I feel like that is your next step, Ashley, is creating your own events, because you've been in enough to know what works and what doesn't, and you have a lot of great ideas as far as innovating and coming up with your own concepts and your own themes, and you've already have all the connections that if you wanted to start a show, you'd have so many people who are artists, or so many people who have certain connections that could help you and benefit you. You know so many people who perform. I'm one of them. So many people that you could call to perform, and you've performed at some, based off what you told me about your first art show, you've had art shows in what I would describe as like unconventional places, like outdoors or just in nature.
Yeah.
So you have the know-how, you have the connections, and now you have that feeling of what is next. So that feeling will drive you towards the next thing. So from my perspective, it looks like you kind of have it all together.
I don't think so, but yeah.
But what do you think about that idea?
That's really, and you know about that art show that I'm coming up with Darian. We're working on that now. It's just more so, I think the last step is really like figuring, it's not even about where it's going to be anymore. It's about like the book, because it's based on the book that he made. Darian, I don't even think you really spoke to him really yet, but he's the guy who I told you who is into astrology, and he's like very like, it's really cool. You should read a book. He made a book, and it's about all the signs, and it's about like it's so cute. It's like every page has a different color for a different sign, and like he put images from like different shows and cartoons just to like make an analogy about the character, like, or like the zodiac characteristics and stuff like that. And he's a Virgo, so I mean it kind of makes sense, because I mean Virgos are like notorious for like kind of like organizing everything and like keeping things in perspective, and like I don't know, he's just really cool. He's a really cool guy. And he works at his own pace. But yeah, like one of these days I would love to host my own show on my own, like, and just have a bunch of like creative artists just pull up, and it'd be like a cool event. That'd be really nice.
One of these days, it sounds like it'll be better if it was sooner than later.
Soon, yeah. I don't know. I think right now my brain is kind of working on like projects for some reason. Like I'm just kind of at the space where I kind of want to just like create right now. Different like different like things, because I always paint on canvases. So now I'm painting on bags actually. And I know you saw my bag that I painted the other day, but like I'm painting on like wallets and stuff now, and like gonna sell like more like like essential items rather than just like paintings, that you could just hang up on the wall. You could walk around with art. Like you could literally just walk around with it now, rather than just like hanging it up on your wall. Like that's in that space, and that's only gonna be in that space when, in comparison to having something you could just walk around and someone's like, oh my god, like where'd you get that from? You know what I mean? So that's like what I'm trying to do right now, and I don't know. It's summer. I'm having fun right now. So yeah, but I'm still gonna have fun with making like events. But I don't know. I also like right now, like I'm having a moment where I'm trying to figure things out with myself, and I know that's gonna be an inevitable journey within itself. But I'm just chilling, like I'm just cruising right now. Because I feel like I've been like kind of speeding my way through a lot of things, and like I'm just kind of to the point where I'm like, no, like I want to relax, enjoy the moment, enjoy the day, and work on stuff when I can. So I'll get to that eventually. But that's the thing, that's why I'm not worried. That's what I'm talking about. Like that's why I'm not worried about like getting things done right away, because I know it's gonna be there. You know what I mean? Like it's always gonna be there. Like the other day, actually, this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but I was getting ready to get an oil change for my car, and like I was rushing to get the oil change. Mind you, this place is only like 10 minutes away, by the way. I just want to let you know that ahead of time. But this place is like 10 minutes away, and I was like rushing to get ready, and I was thinking to myself like, wait a second, like why am I rushing to get ready when this place is going to be right there? Like, this place is not going to fly away. This place isn't going to like float or like just close down for bit. I mean, it's possible, but realistically speaking, I don't think they would, you know, just because, I mean, but anything's possible, you know, there could be like some kind of like explosion or something.
Wow.
But yeah, no, like I realized like in that moment, I was like, you know what? Like, chill out. Okay. Like just chill. Like you're literally going to get there. And I got there and I got my oil change and then I went home and like, I thought to myself on the way, I was like, why did I stress out about that? Like, again, like, why did I do that again? Cause that didn't really make sense. Like that was a waste of time, within itself. So, you know, but that's what I'm talking about. I mean, they may not necessarily correlate exactly to what we're talking about, but it's like, I just feel like I'm just dabbling in different things right now. And like, I'm going to get to that. I know I'm going to get to it. I see it. Like, I can literally see it right now. But right now I'm just like, okay, like, let me just do these things right now. Let me work on this project and, you know, promote it and stuff like that. And then I'll do art shows for myself. But I feel like I know what you're going to say, but you can say it.
I'm done. I think what you said highlights a very important lesson. So, and it seems like the theme of this episode is trusting. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but trusting your inner voice, trusting your essence, trusting your energy, and having faith. Mm-hmm. Now let me explain. So, from my perspective, you have a quality about you that a lot of people lack. And that quality is you're able to live in the moment, and not a lot of people are. So when they see you living in the moment, since they're so used to not living in the moment, they project onto you. They project their anxieties and their fears onto you. And they almost force you to think about the future, which isn't bad, but it's also about intention. If they're projecting fears onto you, then that's not, you know, desirable. That's not what you want. If they're saying, okay, you know, be mindful that these things your decisions now lead to your future, or they lead to consequences. That's cool, you know?
Yeah.
But not everybody is speaking that way. People are projecting their own anxieties and their own fears onto you. And if you're a person who has the luxury of living in the moment, which we all desire, but for various reasons we don't or can't do, we try to force you into our space. I say our, like I'm part of that group. I am not part of that group. Wow. But they'll try to force you into that space. And it's your job to protect yourself, and your job to understand that you are very impulsive, but that's not a bad thing. As a creative, that's a great thing. Being impulsive is great because you can get an idea out of nowhere. And I'm one of those people too who can get an idea out of nowhere. And if I was like everybody else, then I'd be thinking too logically. I'd be out of my element. I'd be out of my energy. I would be sad. I'd be depressed. I'd be restricted. I'd be living very rigidly. And as an artist, you can't do that because creativity is a flow. And you can't impede that flow by going against yourself or by introducing unnecessary structure or introducing unnecessary anxieties and unnecessary thoughts. You have to almost purge yourself and place yourself in an environment that's conducive to your highest good as an artist, your highest good as a creative. I say all that to say you have to stay in your energy and protect yourself. For you, that's very important. For you specifically. For everybody listening, that's important for you as well. But for you specifically, Ashley, that's very important for you. That's very important because you do surround yourself with a lot of people, which means you surround yourself with a lot of
different
ideas,
kinds of,
a lot of energy, a lot of ideas. And if you're not careful on who you're listening to and what you're listening to, because people aren't bad people, you know, but sometimes we do have these thoughts and these beliefs that we project onto other people, and it doesn't serve them. It doesn't even serve us. So it's something to be mindful about.
Yeah, and I mean, and I've been dealing with that a lot lately too. Like, where people will tell me, like, "Oh, you don't have a TikTok? Like, why?" And I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, they'll be like, "You're not gonna blow up that much if you don't have one." And I'm like, but I don't want one. Like, and it's not for any reason. I just don't want one. Just like how I don't really get on Twitter that much. Like, I don't want, I don't want it. Like, I don't want it. And people are like telling me, like, "Dude, do it." And I'm like, man, I don't want to. Like,
You better put your foot down.
I'm gonna pay you to like just listen to me. Like, I don't know. Like, people just because they think that that's the only way. And that's the thing. Here's my thing, right? If everyone was on TikTok and not saying that this whole thing is like a competition, but I mean, like, don't you think that would kind of, do you get what I'm trying to say here? Like,
right.
Not everyone belongs on every app, like, or not everyone even belongs on social media. Like, I know lots of people who blew up from not even having a social media. They had just like a website or something. Like, you know what I mean? It's, I don't know. It's just whack.
That's how you sum it up, huh?
Yeah, it's just so whack. Like how twisted this whole thing is, and I don't get it. I really don't understand.
Well, the moral of this story, it's just funny how we're basically speaking in themes. And it feels like the moral of the story is to stay grounded, because groundedness brings clarity, and not just clarity in a sense of the external world, like knowing what to do next, but internal clarity. It allows you to see yourself clearly. It allows you to understand who you truly are and what's really in alignment with you and your unique path. Because like I said earlier, we, especially as artists, we're living in uncharted territory. We're in a pathway that no one's ever traveled before. So all we can do is take in information, and people recommend things to us, but ultimately it's our choice, and we have to stand strong in that. That's something you have to stand strong in. Like my parents, I love my parents, of course, but they always recommend things to me, and I'm not upset that they do, because some of the ideas that they do recommend to me, like, they're great ideas. My mom told me the other day, she looked at some of my photos that I modeled in and was like, "Yo, you should make a portfolio." And I was like, I should. But there's other ideas that don't align with me, and I have to be solid enough in myself to say, this doesn't align with me. I appreciate that you're trying to help me, but I'm not going to do that. It's not in alignment with what I want. I just don't want to do it. And if there's an issue, if they have an issue on that part, then I mean, that's on them. Like I just accept the fact that I can only do what's in alignment for me. I can only do what's good for me. And if someone wants to point out and help me, they can, but it's ultimately up to me.
Right. I don't know.
You gotta eat some more cookies.
Yeah. I don't know, because I'm not gonna lie, like, there are some artists in my brain right now that, like, I don't know, like, I sometimes do compare I'm not gonna lie, like, I mean, to anyone who's listening to this, like, in the future, I was, and I still kind of am struggling with not, like, or compare, because not as much as I was before, but, like, it's still kind of, like, there, because I guess just like, okay, have you ever been in a situation before, or like seen where, like, you work really hard to make something, and, like, and this is where the whole social media thing, like, makes you get caught up and stuff, right? Like, you work so hard on something, whether it's a song or, like, something, and then for some reason, like, for some freaking reason, it doesn't blow up, like, as much as you thought it would. Like, you were like, okay. And that's where, I think that's where it comes from, where, like, you go into it with a certain intention. Like, are you doing it for other people, or are you doing it for you? But, like, I know some people who, like, I don't know if it's just because they know people or something, or if it's because they just were in it longer than I've been in it or something, but they just seem to get more recognition than like, you know what I mean? It's just weird. It's such a weird thing to talk about because it's like, I'm not like jealous of them, but I'm just kind of like, but like, I don't know. I work so hard all the time. You know what I mean? Like last year, right? There was an art gala, you know, and only like certain people get invited to it. And like, I don't know, like I was really hurt because I wasn't invited to it. And I was just like, but so I knew some people who did get invited to it. And I was like, like, I feel like I work so hard though. Like, and that's where it kind of like, I don't know, like I was just telling myself, well, you got to keep going. You just got to keep doing it. But it's just, it's very challenging. It's very challenging not to give up because it's like, okay. But then at the end of the day though, you should do it because you actually want to do it. And the thing is, I do want to do it, but I guess like it would feel like kind of like a pat on the back, I guess, if like I got some kind of like invitation to something like that, or like, but then the thing is, it's funny how that happened because I did get invited to like really big shows later on, you know? So it's just like, but it's hard because you just fall into that spot sometimes and you're like, damn, like I thought I was over this shit, you know? And then you start comparing yourself to certain people and it just gets hard. So I don't know. It's really hard. It's so hard.
Well, it don't get easier by saying it's so hard.
Exactly. I was just going to say that too, but if you claim it to be hard, then it is going to be hard. So
I feel what you're saying though, because there's nothing like pouring yourself into something, and not even just the creating, but the planning and getting everything right, and you create something and you love it and you expect the world to love it too, and maybe it doesn't get as many likes as you thought it was going to get, or people don't respond to it like you think they would respond to it. And I'm not gonna flex, that's happened to me a few times, and I'm just kind of like, you're right, that shit does suck. Like that sucks. But I think what's gotten me through it is, it's interesting, like my mindset has changed a little bit. I say, okay, maybe it's not getting love now, but as I continue to create, when people look back in retrospect at my work, they're gonna see this one and they're gonna see it. Like they're gonna see the significance of this, but they may see it later down the road. It's almost like an album or a movie that kind of bombs. As soon as it drops, it bombs. And later on, years later, maybe months later, maybe weeks later, people look back and they just catch on. Or, you know, it becomes popular out of nowhere. That's actually happened to, I forgot the artist's name, but she was a singer, and during her time, this is I think in the 60s, 70s, in her time, she wasn't popular at all. She released an album, it didn't sell well, and she stopped making music. And if you look her up now, I think her name is Vashti Bunyan. If you look her up now, her views she has over like 1 million views. Mm-hmm. She has a lot of views on YouTube right now. Mm-hmm. And she hasn't made music since, I don't know when. I don't even want to guess the year wrong, but it's the 1900s sometime. And I'm sure she was thinking the same thing. Like, nobody responded to this. Nobody acknowledged this. But a few 30, 20, 40, whatever years later, she's seeing people's response to it now. And maybe she made music then for the people now versus making music then for the people then. Maybe it just fits society now. Maybe that people just resonate with it now, and it doesn't mean it's better or worse. It just means it's, you know, like people have a chance to connect.
With that being said though, how do you like, and this can be like a rhetorical question, or this could be like a personal question, but with a situation like that, like for somebody else listening to this, like how would you, like what advice would you give them in terms of coping with that, like, because I know a lot of artists who, even during the pandemic, they gave up because they felt like their whole like thing was just it's a wrap, because they weren't getting that many like likes and whatever, and they weren't getting seen or recognized that much. And like, I don't know, like, I don't want to just tell someone, well, just keep doing it, because that's so diminishing. Oh, like shut up, like, you know what I mean, like, stop talking about it, like, and but then at the same time, like, I don't want them to just be like, so how do you, because I struggle with that like all the time, like I think like maybe once a week, like, where I kind of think, oh man, like, like, no, because there was a point where like I'm not gonna say any names but there was like a certain artist that like we started at the same time, like we did things at the same time pretty much, and they like just somehow like, and like I used to think, okay, maybe it's just not my time right now, like, like just like, getting a car, or like getting a job, or like getting a house or whatever, like everyone has different like times when they get things, it just comes naturally or whatever. And I was thinking maybe it's just not my time right now, but like I just feel like I'm still kind of in the same like level as I was before, high key. I don't know, like I know this whole conversation got super sad, but like
sad,
it really did, because very motivation in the beginning, and then now it's like, but I'm just being real right now,
right,
and I'm just like, what do I need? Like, it motivates me to do something else, want to do something else, like in terms of like, okay, what can I do? But it's like, I don't know, like I feel like I'm doing the best that I can, so it's kind of like a weird like combination of like, all right, I feel like this is enough because I feel satisfied with this, but why does it not feel as satisfying? Like, but I don't want to push myself to the point of like extinction from doing this. So what would you recommend somebody to?
Well, I think the first thing is you want to be there for that person's feelings. So if they're feeling disappointment, or maybe they're even depressed, because as an artist, sometimes your self-esteem is tied to the response that your creations receive.
Exactly.
Which is pretty flawed, because there's going to be times where people, like your work and acknowledge it, and other times when they don't. So
right.
I'd say it's all about, honestly, this is pretty deep, but I'll try to break it down into parts. It's about perception and the big picture, because as an artist, you have to see the big picture. You have to understand that society doesn't cater to you,
right?
Especially in the United States, in the Western world, society doesn't cater to you. Like, you don't get as much recognition as you would get in another place. Art within itself doesn't get as much recognition as it should.
In general, yeah.
Because we don't really see the importance. So you have to keep that in mind, and keep in mind that the people around you may never appreciate you. They may never appreciate your work. They may never appreciate your perspectives. They may never appreciate what you went through to create what you did. They may never appreciate the process of alchemy, which genuine and authentic creation is. They may never understand that. And you can't tie your self-esteem to them or anything that has anything to do with someone's response to you. And it's hard. It sucks, because it took me a while to understand that as well. And you also have to have a solid understanding of what your values are and what is going to bring you joy and satisfaction when it comes to your work, because that's how you'll define your level of success, because success has to be unique to you. It can't just be what society thinks is success, because as an artist, already society doesn't cater to you. So society's level of success could be making money, and as an artist, your values have nothing to do with making money. You know, they could or they can't, and if they don't, then you really shit out of luck, because you're gonna try to put monetary value on work that transcends monetary value. You know, you can't put a value on inspiring someone. You don't. How much is that worth? You know, it's worth an infinite number of dollars. It's worth an infinite amount of money. And what we do as artists is we not only inspire people, we're there for people when they're at their lowest. We create things that people resonate with, and it's something that isn't really seen. It's felt, but it's not seen. So it's a very tricky thing as an artist. You got to learn how to really interpret, navigate, and also see the bigger picture. The bigger picture is your place in the world, and the effect that you have on people, and the gift that you have, and how it translates into the real world, and the vision you have for yourself, and, you know, blase. But the big picture you have to constantly remind yourself of that big picture, because there's going to be days where shit just don't work out for you.
Yeah.
You know, and there may be days where you even hate your work.
Oh yeah, no, like literally right now. So I'm working on something right now, and I literally hate it. Like, for some reason, I just hate it, and I want to start over. But then a part of me is like, keep going, because it always happens. Like, you're at a moment where, like, I hate this so much. Like, why? And you want to give up, and then you keep going, and then it comes out really great.
That's symbolic.
That's literally like what I'm going through right now. Like, I'm just staring at the piece right now, and I'm like, oh my god, like, what? I could have done so much better than this. Like, what is this? Oh my god, you know what I mean? And then I just want to like throw it away and just buy something, like buy a new, because I'm working on a wallet purse right now thing, or not wallet purse, phone case purse thing, and I'm just like, fuck, like I want to just like buy another wallet or something so bad. Start over. And I was gonna do it too. I was really about to throw it away, and because it just didn't like it. But I don't know, like, it's just like, that's the one thing that is so personal that, like, I feel like I can't explain it to somebody else, really, because it's such a in deep like feeling. But at the same time, I feel like we could all like resonate with that, because it's something that we all go through at some point in our life. And like, I don't know, like, I wonder, like, I forget that the people that I love, the artists that I love the most, like, I keep forgetting that they're humans too. Like, I keep forgetting that. Like, I'm like, they're not perfect either. You know, they're not, like, I'm thinking like, they just do this and then it's like whatever, but it's in actuality, like, they probably feel these feelings too, and I don't want to wish these feelings upon them, but it makes me feel a little bit better knowing that I'm not alone, because like, I'm not the only one kind of thinking this way.
Right.
I don't know.
That's true.
It's so twisted. It's so twisted that we have to think of it like that, you know, like, oh, like, well, I mean, somebody has it way worse than me. Da-da-da.
Oh, that's how you're thinking about it?
No, not like that. I'm just kidding. But I'm just,
Okay, I was about to say,
but like, it's just sort of more like, you're not alone. We're all in this together, literally, because you wouldn't be able to understand if I was literally the only person that was going through this. So,
right.
But I just, I guess to like everyone that's listening, just keep going. Like, I know that's such a stupid like phrase, like literally, it's so stupid. I hate that phrase so much. Like, I hate it so much sometimes. But like, literally, it's like either you keep going or you just stop. So do you want to keep going? Like, do you want to still create, or do you want to stop? That's up to you to decide. Because I realize, like, sitting and just kind of like thinking about everything and like just pondering like your worth and you know what I mean? Like wondering, okay, am I worth it? Like it's not gonna advance you at all. Like, it could in a way like where you're like constructively trying to figure out how to better yourself, but it's not going to, if you're beating yourself up, if you're sitting in your room and you're just like, oh my God, I could have done this differently, I suck, like whatever, you're not gonna feel any better than what you felt like 5 minutes ago. So I just think keep going. That's why I still haven't given up yet. I wanted to, and I keep passing my room, my like little room that I have where it's just sitting there and I'm like, oh God, but then I'm like, I'm gonna do it though. You know what I mean? I keep trying to avoid it and stuff, I'm just like, I don't want to do it because it's like my pride and it's like my ego is like attacking me at the moment. But then I'm like, but it's not even done yet. Like, who's to say it's gonna look nice after? Like, give it a try. Don't give up just yet. Don't give up. Like, we're so easily inclined to give up, even if it's been like 2 seconds.
Right.
Yeah.
Ashley, this has been a hell of a conversation.
Yes.
So it didn't go the way that I expected it to, but once again, it's big picture thinking. I planned for this podcast to be a certain way, and it came out completely different, but it came out more fulfilling. And I feel like if I was rigid in my approach to how I wanted this to go, it wouldn't have came out as beautiful and as, I want to say as deep, but I don't think deep is the right word.
Authentic, maybe?
Yeah, authentic and meaningful. So I want to thank you. I want to thank you for this conversation. I want to thank you for coming on.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, and I really appreciate you for asking me to do this. I feel like, honestly, this conversation, even though it is a podcast and we're supposed to be, like, formal, I feel like it was very, like, real. I feel like I'm having an actual conversation with you on the phone, like I always do. So I just got that off my chest. And I feel better. Like, I feel like I'm gonna be okay now. I think it was bothering me for a while, actually, and I just wanted to bring awareness to it in real life, express it. Yeah, but anyway, thank you for inviting me to this moment of transparency, and thanks for being you, because without you, this wouldn't have been possible. This is sponsored. Sponsored,
right?
Is this Flynn sponsored or is this Ashley sponsored? Someone comment down below, like, subscribe, yeah. Repost, send it to all your friends.
Right, bruh. I can't with you. I can't.
Also, happy 4th of July, I guess. Question mark. To everyone. If you celebrate 4th of July, it doesn't feel like 4th of July. Honestly, I'm about to go to the park. Yeah, okay.
By the time this airs, it's not gonna be the 4th of July. So I'll tell you what.
Well, before we end this, I just want to take a moment to just like think about it and just say this, because this summer is going by way too fast for me. Like, I thought we were still in June. It's July. I'm so confused. Like, literally, we're going to be in August, and before you know it, we're going to be in December. And I'm going to be 24. Like, what's going on? Why is time going by so fast? That's another discussion for another time, but time and stuff. But yeah, okay. For real, like, I'm just mind blown. I was like, oh my God, like, I literally moved in a month, and it doesn't feel like anything's changing. It feels like everything's kind of the same right now, but it's like this like concept of time that we created, like this calendar of dates and like months and stuff like that we cultivated, is telling us that time has passed, but it doesn't feel like time has really passed. So I'm just very like Question mark, but okay. I guess. But it's okay. I'm actually glad that time is. I'm excited for what's gonna happen next. The next step is it's gonna be fun. I feel like we're all gonna have a good time. I hope that whoever listens to this was like, dang, I needed to hear that because that's literally what I'm going through right now. And I hope that everyone has a good day. And yeah.
Well, you heard it here first. This is The Artist Path with your host Flynn. I almost forgot who I was. With your host Flynn. And thank you once again, Ashley, for joining.
No problem.
Peace.
Bye.